Welcome, everyone, to the MCU Pod, your Marvel Cinematic Universe companion podcast. I'm Grant Davis, your host, and alongside me is my co-host.
Hey, it's Mike Moody Garcia, and I'm about to choke. I just took a big swig of coffee, and now I'm coughing. Guys, it's a loose hang.
It's a loose hang.
It's a loose hang.
And we are excited to be joined by our good buddy and indie comic artist, Will Cardini.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here.
That's a pretty tight painting, behind you there.
Thank you. It's a Will Cardini original. But
I was ironically, just ask, who painted that?
Yeah. How did that end up in the background of this podcast?
Oh, wow.
Just is that a coincidence?
Is that a price tag I see? Are you just marketing yourself right now?
Yeah, there you go.
So typically, if you guys are tuning in right now, typically you're like, what's going on? Aren't you guys a Friday night podcast? Yes. But had to bug up my ass. I felt like, I just want to go ahead and talk about some other stuff MCU tonight. And I wrangled up the crew, and you guys were thankfully available and willing to shoot the shit with me about some MCU products coming up. Projects?
Are we talking about drugs that they use in the MCU? MCU product?
Yeah.
That patented MCU cocaine. Tony Stark knows all about that.
It's the best. They had like only one movie where he had a drinking problem. Kinda. They seem to not really want to embrace that Tony was a raging alcoholic. They went further with Thor having a drinking problem in Endgame than I think they ever really did with Tony.
Yeah. I thought you were going to talk about Thor's coffee drinking problem, where he just swigs the coffee and slams it on the ground and says, "Another," inside of a crowded restaurant, scaring
everyone. Rude. So rude.
They're awful people.
Yeah. I saw a tweet today that I don't know who tweeted it, but it was like, if the Avengers were alive today or they were real, we would all hate them. It's like, okay, no context to the tweet, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think so? I mean, I bet like certain ones would be cool, and it would be like, yeah, Ant-Man's kind of cool. I get it. Every time that guy gives an interview, he seems just like that Paul Rudd guy. He's just so likable. Yeah. But I'm sure there's other ones where I'd be like, Hawkeye, go to hell, Hawkeye. You and your arrow man, get out of here.
Yeah, go flip some houses.
Folks, we're going to be talking about a few of the upcoming projects on the MCU slate. Now that Falcon and the Winter Soldier, aka Captain America and the Winter Soldier, the TV series, is complete, and we don't have anything weekly to talk about. It looks like our next TV series that we're going to be able to be talking about weekly is going to be Loki, which is coming out June 11th. So we got another whole month before that. In addition, we also have the Black Widow movie coming out July 9th. So also a little bit down the road. But we also just got the trailer for the Shang Chi Legend of the Ten Rings movie, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think there's been disputes on how to properly pronounce it. Shang Chi, which is going to be coming out September 3rd. So we got a bunch of good stuff to kind of dive through and check out, see what we're thinking about all that. Before we get into all of that, I did want to just go ahead and say, hey, if you guys are tuning in right now and watching us over on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can find us over at youtube.com/MCU pod, and there you can subscribe to us. And we'd love to have you guys following us. I see some people are talking about MODOK. I don't know, because that trailer...
That trailer looks awesome.
Does it?
It looks so funny. Yeah.
It looks hilarious.
It looks really funny. I know when I saw it, I'm like, everyone is going to hate this. Everyone being...
Whoa, you muted yourself. Uh-oh. I'm thinking that you were saying Randy. Randy was gonna hate it. You're muted again. What's going on? We can't hear you. Okay, can you hear me, Will?
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you. I cannot hear Mike either.
All
But
right. Mike,
yeah, I didn't know that Randy's hate of MODOK was legendary.
I guess.
Hello.
Yeah,
there you are.
All right. I don't know. It just seemed kind of like the kind of trailer that would bait fanboys, since it's such a different idea for MODOK than what we've seen in the comics. But it just looks like a funny show.
Yeah.
How can you not play MODOK for laughs, though? I mean, just, the whole character design is
a joke.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So in addition, if you guys are not watching us over on YouTube, you can listen to this podcast. We do put this podcast up on all streaming or on all podcast platforms. You can go there and subscribe as well. And if you do it like on Apple, do us a favor, go and write a little review. Give us that 5 stars. We would appreciate all of the support. Speaking of support, we are also a self-funded, independent little venture. We aren't peddling ads to you about mattresses or some other bullshit. But as a result, we could use financial support from you. And we're not asking a whole lot, but if you could chip in $2, $5, $10 a month, you can do that over at patreon.com/MCUpod. And we appreciate all of that support from you guys. You're helping keep this little fun side project going. We don't actually make money off of this. It just kind of pays for the hosting and everything else.
We lose money.
But yeah, we do. Currently, we lose money.
Yeah.
But maybe someday, I don't know. Some things could turn around. And on that note, yeah, I think we're ready to go ahead and dive into some of these shows. This is a loose hang. So I didn't do my normal prep for this.
I just woke up from a nap.
Nice.
I might still be napping. Are you real or are you a dream?
I'm your dream.
Yeah. On the other hand, I've been reading and summarizing Wikipedia articles for 7 hours to get ready for this. So watch out. I've got some background ready to go.
Will, I'm just going to have you take everything away. You're just going to go ahead and lead this.
I made a mistake. No, the pressure.
We'll be taking over. So we're going to start with the trailer for Shang Chi. I think I have this queued up here. Bear with me one more second. We're gonna do one of. We'll let it take full screen, and if we get pinged for it, we get pinged for it. Here we go.
Are we talking over this?
Yeah, we can talk.
Okay.
I don't know if this is gonna be like a little glitchy. Like streaming this trailer here.
I watched this a few times, and I like how colorful it is because even though I love the MCU movies, a lot of them are pretty gray.
10 years to
yeah,
live your life.
And I love the punch motion he does to that break.
Yeah.
And where did that get you?
And I'm here for Awkwafina and her "I smoked 10,000 cigarettes in my life" voice.
Yeah,
for sure.
You walked in my shadow.
And we're getting the real Mandarin.
The real Mandarin. And I can't tell if this is some sort of blood sport, Mortal Kombat kind of thing going on.
Yeah. There's got to be a tournament. There was no tournament in the new Mortal Kombat movie. So there has to be a tournament in this movie.
There are 10 rings.
That's not going to happen.
Waifu.
You can't outrun who you really are.
That's the move.
Who are you?
Oh yeah, this movie is also Speed.
It's also what? Speed
3.
Yeah. It's Wire Fu, it's MCU, and it's Speed 3. All great things.
And there's an ad for the incredible MCU that time forgot. Let's get us back on screen here. All right. So that was a pretty fun trailer. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and cue us for some Snap Judgments. Mike, you want to take it away? You want to tell us your snap judgments on this?
Yeah, I'm coming into this as someone who doesn't know anything about this character, really anything about the cast or the story. I haven't really been a huge comics reader in a long time, and I have maybe my 3 or 4 books that I stick to. So I haven't read Shang Chi at all, or really researched the character. But just from a action movie fan standpoint, this looks really fun, and it looks like a great summer movie. Like, when is this coming out? Is it summer?
September 3rd.
Technically summer.
Technically, yeah.
in Texas, yeah, summer all year. So
I mean, it looks like a blast. It's so colorful, and the wire food looks great, and I like the mix of modern cityscape kind of Rumble in the Bronx type action, along with this sweeping panoramic period piece action. And from what I understand, this is just going to be like one of the biggest stunt heavy Marvel movies we've ever seen. And we're going to get an origin for the actual Mandarin. And oh no. And hopefully it'll wipe away all of the bad memories we have about Iron Fist.
Never forget Iron Fist. Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet Finn, whatever his name is. Oh man, this is awful. Will, what are your snap judgments on this? And if any of you watching, give us your snap judgments as well.
I agree with Mike that I think it looks like an exciting action movie. I also wasn't familiar with the character from the comics. But when I was reading Wikipedia for 7 hours today, I saw that Shang Chi was created by Jim Starlin and Steve Englehart, and they're two of my favorite creators. Steve Englehart is a writer who created Mantis and a bunch of other characters, and he wrote Silver Surfer for about 30 issues in the 80s, early 90s. And then Jim Starlin, as you know, he created Thanos, and he's a writer-artist, and he was just the artist on this one, but I really like his 70s style art. So now I kind of want to check out the comics, but I think the movie looks interesting. I'm just worried. I'm worried about the Mandarin. I was worried about the Mandarin when I saw he was going to be in Iron Man 3, and I liked what they did with it, and I'm just worried about how they're going to handle it in this movie, because that character originally was a racist stereotype, and so I hope that they handle that with some sensitivity, but we'll see. And even Shang-Chi was originally the son of Fu Manchu, who's a similar racist stereotype to the Mandarin. So I just feel like there's a lot of problematic elements there, and I hope they handle it well, but I'm kind of skeptical.
Damned if you do, damned if you also do, apparently, for them. Yeah, I think it's interesting though, because seeing him the Mandarin chilling here, I like the idea that they've already established that this character exists as this threat, even from the very first Iron Man movie, with him dealing with the 10 rings and one of the other operatives, one of the rings of that criminal network, being the person who captured Iron Man or Tony Stark, and eventually made him who he is as Iron Man. Now he's dead. I shouldn't have said that. But I think that returning to that character, and then kind of having this underground criminal organization, this resistance of this of Shang-Chi to, taking over the criminal empire from his father, and then ultimately, defying him and becoming a hero is, it's an awesome way to approach that story. And it does look like there's a little bit of a Shang Tsung kind of Mortal Kombat thing going on in this movie, with all these different villains coming to this gladiator ring and fighting. It also has kind of this echo of what was going on in Black Panther, with the different tribes coming in to see who would take on the throne. It wasn't a foregone conclusion that the son gets to take over. T'Challa's doesn't get to automatically take over. He has to fight and earn it without powers. And it feels like there's a little bit of that might be going on here as well. This you've trained, but do you fully have the capabilities? I don't know. Everything I'm seeing about this, it looks awesome. And the fact that Mortal Kombat came out this weekend and a lot of people are kind of meh on it, it seems like, oh, that's good for this, because this one might actually deliver on the Bloodsport promise.
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna deliver everything the Mortal Kombat movie promised. And I enjoyed the Mortal Kombat movie for what it was. It was pretty fun. But this, since it's Marvel invests so much in quality behind the scenes talent and great writers, visionary directors, we might actually get smart, funny dialogue in this movie. We might actually get a story that is emotionally compelling, along with all the other really fun stuff you would get from a big budget, like crazy action movie like Mortal Kombat. The tournaments, the fights, the wire fu. The only thing this might be missing, if we're comparing the two, is something like Kano shoving his hand inside someone else's body and ripping out their heart, while it still pumps. We might not get that.
We'll see.
You never know.
That level of violence, I'm not expecting.
I feel like they've gotten a little bit more violent and a little edgier, especially with like what they've been doing with the TV shows as well. So we'll see. There seems to be like some magical elements that they're incorporating into here with these, like, I don't know, these flying tiger dog thingies are here. But it also kind of reminds me a little bit of what was going on with Doctor Strange. And it's exciting if we have a movie that suddenly is taking all of these kind of different ideas and fusing them together into the world that Shang-Chi is operating in.
I'm definitely a big fan for any kind of like mysticism, magic plus sci-fi melding, and I could see this going in that direction. I definitely want to see more of whatever this crazy animal is in the trailer. And in the comics, the 10 rings were alien tech that the Mandarin had stolen and modified from a shipwreck. And so I'm kind of wondering if they'll go a magic direction with it or some kind of alien sci-fi tech with it.
It's gotta be one of the big three. Well, that's what we know.
Yep.
Let's we got a couple comments here from other people, their snap judgments. That Psycho Reviewer says, I want to see a scene where the Mandalorian reveals he's actually an actor. Do you mean the Mandarin? Or are we
the Mandalorian?
Is he gonna
Pedro Pascal's in this movie?
That's gonna be awesome. Kern says, not to be a downer, but I'm wondering if the anti-Asian sentiment that's out there will impact the box office in the US. I mean, I doubt that it's that. I don't know.
It's really hard to predict what's going to go on a cultural level like this. I think after everything we've been through, it's so hard to predict what's going to happen. But I will say, it feels like this is a movie that I think people are going to get behind, and and celebrate. Not only because does it feel like the first big fun blockbuster that we might all be able to go out to the theaters and see, if things are safe, if we're all vaccinated, but it also is, seems to be celebrating so many aspects of the culture it's representing, similar to Black Panther, and people just champion the hell out of that movie.
Yeah, I there's the shitty vocal contingent that, you know, always talk shit about certain more progressive decisions that are made in these franchises, like, you know, even like Idris Elba playing Heimdall. Like, people were flipping their shit, and then everyone loved the movie and like went to see it, and those voices quelled, you know, like people just kind of shut them out and ignored them. And I'm hoping that's just going to be the kind of the same thing here, you know, these shitty bigots that are out there. I hope everyone else just is like, yeah, fuck off, we're not listening to you. And because this looks awesome, this just looks like it has this kind. I keep going back to Bloodsport, but it totally has this vibe for me that like has this little tinge of like 80s nostalgia for like kung fu action movies as well, that I'd love seeing as a kid. And I don't know, I'm excited for that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it has a mix of that Rumble in the Bronx spirit, that Jackie Chan spirit, but also, you know, the more elegant wire fu stuff you see in the Crouching Tiger movies.
Will Morris says, I could watch that trailer another 5 times. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and play it a few more times for you guys.
And say we have time to kill.
Let's pad this out.
That's all we're going to do. Yeah, but overall, we have a lot of time to see what else they're going to kind of do with this movie, and how I'm interested to see how they incorporate other already established characters and franchises into this, because, you know, everyone like they love the cameos. They're gonna have some other people drop in, but I'm not sure who would it be. Doctor Strange feels like Doctor Strange already got paired up with Wanda from WandaVision, so he may already be betrothed to that other property.
You mentioned Doctor Strange, and seeing all these warriors in this trailer lined up and doing all this mystical stuff reminds me of when we see all of the sorcerers in Endgame, and they're like projecting shields to help everybody, and to, you know, all the falling debris, they're protecting all the heroes. And this movie seems like we might just get a whole bunch more of random, like, super powered, like, guys who can do stuff like that. So next time there's a big all out battle, we'll have the sorcerers and these warriors doing all kinds of mystical shit to help everybody during those big battles. Is that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The I was pulling up this shot right here because there's this dude who I guess his name is Razor Fist or some shit. Is that right?
Something like that. He looks so bad in the comics.
It's
so ridiculous.
It's Razor Fist. I don't know if that's gonna be awful, but if it reminds me of Taserface from Guardians of the Galaxy, this corny Razor Fist. Here we are. Look at that guy. I don't know. There's also this other.
It looks like the Snap-on guy from what's that Martin Short movie, Inner Space?
Oh,
the guy who would just snap on random things on his hand and torture Martin Short.
Oh, right. Yeah, which seems like a He-Man character. And then we have this character here who does seem to have the rings on the wrist and the mask. Do you have any insight into what this is, Will?
I did not realize that these were the same characters. I thought that was...
Oh, maybe it's not the same character.
But now that I'm looking at this, you can kind of see the fabric on the shirt maybe match, but the material looks different. Because
right,
I think
the blue up here looks kind of plasticky, where this has weave over on here.
Yeah, I mean, my interpretation of this is that this is either Shang Chi or his father wielding the 10 rings in battle.
Ooh. And okay, are you a little bit more familiar with it, Will? Like the 10 rings and like
they're just like
you're able to wield.
I don't have them all memorized. it's just like kind of, I think it's different elemental powers, and each ring is a different element or something like that.
That would make okay, because that would make sense with this other scene here that we see where all of a sudden water's slowing down around him, and I was like, "Are you a waterbender? What's going on with this scene?" Oh man, because
I do like that the rings are bracelets and not actual rings you put on your finger, because that would be too much like the Infinity glove, the gauntlet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
the rings, the way they did the rings in that one shot, they look really cool.
Yeah, I'll go back to it here. Yeah, I was curious who this other character is, and we'll see if anyone. Oh, it's apparently Drago Jr. Thank you. that can't be right. That psycho reviewer says, I need to see blood on that white mask. You need to give a character in action and pure white. You don't give a character in a movie a pure white mask and not put a little bit of blood in it. Yeah, that might happen. I don't know what's going on there.
or red salt like in Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that was good. The visual of that was so good. I think that Shang-Chi does have a sister, so maybe this is his sister, and maybe Aquafina is his sister. The whatever character she plays,
She plays Katie.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I'm thinking just the fact that his name is Shang-Chi and her name is Katie, they might not be related.
Yeah.
I mean, at least according to the rule of I name my kids pretty similarly. So that's my assumption. I could be off base though.
I'm not a dad, I can't comment.
Could be a pseudonym.
Yeah. We got one more snap judgment here from that psycho reviewer. Says, my issue with the 10 rings or whatever, will it be too similar to the Infinity Stones? I mean, I'm kind of in the camp of you can't. I think that Shang-Chi needs to have some other ability that elevates him above just a street brawler, someone who's able to get in fist fights here, because there are cosmic things afoot and there are enemies in the spiritual realm as well that are going to need someone who has more abilities that they're able to kind of capitalize on. So if that's being able to master elements or something like that, that'd be pretty sweet.
I heard the Wakandans are building him a suit.
Mike, I didn't get your thoughts on the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier. What'd you think?
I love this series as a whole. I think that I enjoyed lots of the finale, especially the stuff with Isaiah Bradley, and that whole sentiment was great. But yeah, I think we've seen 2 Marvel Disney Plus shows, and we've seen the issue that happens in some of the movies crop up on these shows where they get to the final act. It's just a lot of race to the finish, punchy, and not a lot of pathos or real drama. And a lot of it feels manufactured and really predictable. I think maybe we'll see something different in Loki, since that looks pretty wild and experimental, I'm hoping. But overall, I love the series, and I'm looking forward to Cat 4. And I love seeing Sam don those colors, even though I was kind of iffy on the style of the comic book accurate suit. Maybe we need something a little that translates to the screen and to quote unquote the more grounded MCU a little better. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I enjoyed it, and I'm here for Sam. I'm here for more Bucky, and maybe Sharon's a Skrull. I don't really care.
She's Mephisto.
Right.
Always Mephisto.
Well, I thought the boat was Mephisto.
Mephisto can divide his being, I'm sure. I'm not worried about it.
Not worried.
Well, on that note, let's go ahead and move over to talking about Black Widow. I think I got this one queued up and ready to go. We're going to watch the trailer real quick.
People, my sister moved out west. You're a science teacher. Your husband, he renovates houses. You're thinking about moving, but you're gonna wait until the interest rates go down.
That's not my story. Before I was an Avenger, I made mistakes. And a lot of enemies.
Oh, Taserface is in this movie too?
He controls
I was
the
going to say that, like, Taskmaster seems like a similar level of goofy.
no choices.
I should have come back for you.
How many others are there? Enough.
We have to go back to where it all started. So they never do that to anyone again.
We're a family. We fight with you.
You won't win. I've always found it best.
I am loving this music.
Okay, you got a plan, or shall I just stay duck and cover?
My plan was to drive us away.
Well, your plan sucks.
At some point, we all have to choose between what the world wants you to be and who you are. I made my choice. I'm done running. Here's what's gonna happen.
Natasha, don't slouch.
I'm not slouching.
You're going to get a back hunch.
Listen to your mother.
Oh my God, this.
Up.
All
Listen.
right, enough. All of you.
I didn't say anything. That's not fair.
Oh, family. Oh,
I
boy.
like that we watched this trailer because I watched 2 other trailers today, neither of which was this one.
Same.
Oh, yeah.
Same.
I get so confused with like trailer, teaser, number 1, number 2, full. Is there a code?
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I think I probably pulled up one from March 9th of 2020. So this was probably one of the first earlier ones. My bad. But I'm not going to show another one. So we're going to talk about it based on this. I'll go first. And you in the comments, you can give us your snap judgments as well. I thought I'm really excited for this one because the character of Black Widow has seemed very, very distant, very isolated, and just like a complete loner. And here we're seeing the opposite. This family dynamic. She clearly has a mother, father, sister that are all fighter brawler type people that have a shared traumatic background, but they're all going to work together in this situation to kind of take down this industry that exploited her in her youth, it seems like, and made her into the Black Widow, and then did the same thing to her sister. According to IMDb's little mini synopsis, it says, a film about Natasha Romanoff and her quest between the film Civil War and Infinity War. Not very helpful. But I think that the cast looks great and the action is really cool. Taskmaster, I'm not sure who is playing that character because it looks like they're not listed still on IMDb yet, so I'm guessing it's some sort of secret twist. But it looks cool. It looks like a fun action movie, even though I know that she's going to survive by the end. I don't know how this is going to affect the rest of her family, and if she's going to have more trauma of other people dying. You know, Will, what do you think?
I think it's interesting your interpretation of what's going to happen, because from the trailer I watched, there was some line where Black Widow says something like, "It wasn't even real." And then her sister says, "It felt real to me." And I immediately went to, this is all a fake family that the Russian spy agency put together to train them. and basically she's gonna have to fight her family for some reason.
Oh, like the Americans or something. You ever see that show?
Just the first season.
The fake, like the people that are just kind of paired up and they're
Right.
not really.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that'd be also this other level of kind of tragic. Like every time we get a little more glimpses of Black Widow's history, it just seems so sad, so bleak.
Yeah,
Mike, what do you
very
think?
much. I think it looks like fun. Watching this is like the third trailer I've seen for it, and it all feels like it's going to be some Jason Bourne level action with an MCU budget, and I'm also getting a very Winter Soldier vibe in terms of the political intrigue and the spy thriller. But it looks like a blast, and I think everyone in that cast is A-list. They're all great.
Right.
Like somebody in the chat says that Eddie Murphy is playing the Taskmaster. Can't wait for that. That's gonna be great.
I think I would be a little bit disappointed at that.
From Donkey to Taskmaster.
Will Morris does say Black Widow looks like by the numbers as
I think the trailers
like Florence Pugh.
I think the trailer is looking a little by the numbers, but I think if we're thinking about trailers for Winter Soldier, trailers lie. They're gonna make this look like a bland action movie starring Scarlett Johansson, but we've come to expect something a little deeper from the MCU, something that has a lot of twists. Like, well, you mentioned we might have that family twist, which would be interesting. There's gonna be something more than just like explosions and Scarlett Johansson high kicking in this movie. It's gonna be worth watching.
Shul says looks like fun, but is it Fast and Furious fun?
See, that's the thing. Like her story is so dark, and the more we learn about it, like you said, Grant, it gets sadder and sadder. But the movie also looks like it has some fun characters with the dad and the mom, and it looks like it might be a blast.
I mean, that music was melancholy. I think for me, seeing Florence Pugh, who's playing her sister in that, just reminds me of the movie Midsommar, and I get
so
sad.
good.
Right.
It's a great movie, not an uplifting movie necessarily.
Well,
depends on your perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
It was not for me.
But I'm really excited to see her because I thought she was so good in that. So seeing her in the trailer makes me think I'll at least enjoy whatever she's got going on.
But David Harbour looks like he's going to give us lots of laughs, and we know he can do anything. And Rachel Weisz looks like she's playing a pretty fun, dynamic character too. And Ray Winstone is in this movie. That guy's fun.
Why do I know Ray Winstone? Like the name is super familiar.
William Hurt as well. Wow. Ray Winstone. He was in that terrible Beowulf movie that they made a few years ago.
God. Wow.
Sexy Beast. He's the main guy in Sexy Beast.
I never saw Sexy Beast, but the guy's name is so familiar.
Yeah.
A few more of your snap judgments. That Psycho Reviewer says, out of all the upcoming stuff, this is the one I'm looking forward to the least, to be honest. Still gonna watch it though. Fair enough. Kern says it's the post-pandemic summer blockbuster that we need. They should have thrown us a bone and put this out during that awful pandemic, because this movie's been done and like shelved for a long time. So it was a dick move of them. Take
let me watch it at home
and let us feel better that we get to have a Marvel movie last year. Jeez.
Yeah.
Selfish jerks. I'm gonna add some photos here we can look at. I think just seeing him all scraggly and trying to fit into his red Russian version of like a Captain America outfit is great. I like David Harbour a lot.
Yeah,
he's good.
Great.
Taskmaster. Do either of you know much about Taskmaster? I'm not really familiar.
I follow this illustrator on Twitter named Kim Hu, and she is the #1 Taskmaster stan and is always posting, like, all her warm-up drawings are sexy drawings of Taskmaster.
Okay.
So I feel like he's got some kind of fandom going on around him. I think part of it is just the cheese of his normal outfit, where he's got like a skull and a cloak, but he's like a spy guy with a sword or something like that. I don't know. So I think it could be interesting.
Yeah, who is like, does he have a power or something? Yeah, also the fact that they're keeping it hush hush who the actor is playing it, I think is intriguing to me.
I think his main superpower is a tight butt.
Tight butt. Oh, that's Russia's ass. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I would say this wasn't necessarily my top most anticipated, but still, any Marvel movie I'm excited for personally. Don't get ahead of yourself there, Grant. This looks like she's talking to Captain America here. Right? What's going on with this like blue and red and white and gray outfit here?
Looks like John Walker.
Yeah, a little bit John Walker, but they can't do that.
No.
I thought there was a scene where Red Shield is like throwing something at a guy dressed up like a fake Captain America, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, like I was mentioning before, this takes place in the past. We already know what becomes of Natasha Romanoff eventually sacrificing herself and entering the eternal soulstone purgatory or whatever this place is. So it does seem like it's still gonna be kind of tragic, I guess. There's this, no matter how this shakes out for her, we know her final destiny is also gonna be sad. So I don't know,
but it seems like there's going to be a pick me up at the end with Florence Pugh potentially owning the moniker of the Black Widow and becoming our new Black Widow.
That'd
I
be cool.
thought about that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Also, are meta-textual spoilers allowed in the MCU pod?
Yes.
Like, so I read an interview with Julia Louis-Dreyfus after the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and apparently her MCU debut was supposed to be in Black Widow.
Oh, that is interesting.
That is John Walker.
There you go. There you go.
Also, I hope this isn't too much of a spoiler, but we do have the last clip here from Black Widow. I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys for a second here.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Baby, don't hurt me.
I love it so much. I love that so much.
I love it because he dances like me.
Yeah, I'm in the club.
It's so ridiculous. All right, we got one last one to discuss, and that is going to be our little pal Loki. And you're gonna have to give me a second, and you guys talk about your anticipation for Loki while I pull this up.
I was not expecting Owen Wilson to be in this show.
No,
and I think it's great. It seems like he's playing a very first of all, he doesn't look like himself, so he's actually acting and playing an interesting character, which would be great. And I think that's going to be a pretty good
wow, harsh
48 hours type vibe they have going on.
Yeah,
in the show.
I was stoked for this from the synopsis. So
yeah, hit us up as we're watching this, folks that are watching right now, with your snap judgments. I'm going to go ahead and hit play.
I know what this place is. The timekeepers have built quite the circus. And I see the clowns are playing their parts to perfection.
Always the asshole.
Metaphor guy. I love it. Makes you sound super smart. I am smart. I know. Okay.
Roasted.
Please sign to verify this is everything you've ever said.
This is absurd.
Sign this too.
A little Brazil vibe here.
Yeah.
We protect the proper flow of time.
You picked up the Tesseract, breaking reality.
I want you to help us fix it.
Why me?
I need your unique Loki
That jacket he has on, there's a point here where we see the back of it. And it says variant. Yeah, there we go. Just to remind us that this isn't Loki Prime.
Right.
This is a variant.
Do you believe in this Loki variant?
I think that's going to be
Luckily, he believes in himself enough for the both of us.
a big through line for the character here.
I think it tells us a lot about the multiverse too, that there's a prime and variance, you know?
I'm 10 steps ahead of you. You're not big on trust, are you? You can trust me.
Loki, I've studied almost every moment of your entire life. You've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
I'd never do it again.
That's a good time.
It looks super fun. Mike, give us your snap judgment on that.
I think this is the one I'm really excited for out of all these three. Not only because I get to, watch it at home, in my underwear, which would be great. I guess we can do that for Black Widow too. But I feel like this is the Marvel series that is going to not lead us to a final act where it's so predictable and punchy. And I feel like that with the character of Loki, especially this being the variant of Loki, it's really going to rest on his emotional journey in terms of figuring out who he is and who he wants to be, which I, throughout the entire first couple of phases of MCU, I always found really compelling because, is Loki a hero? Is Loki a villain? Is he somewhere in the middle? Can you trust him? And Tom Hiddleston's performance can play the range of that so well. So I'm really excited about that, but also the world behind the world that they're building here. Will, you mentioned it has tones of Brazil, things like that. That's just a great idea. And if anyone's going to put that on screen in modern day and make it fun and funny and exciting, it's going to be Marvel. So
Right.
I'm here for it. Yeah.
Will, what are you thinking?
Of the 3 Disney Plus TV shows that were announced, this is probably the one that I was the most excited about. And the trailer definitely pumps me up even more. I don't remember if there's this kind of like time variant squad in the comics, but y'all do the Star Trek pod too, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a similar organization or agency, however you want to put it, in the Star Trek universe. And those episodes of Star Trek are probably the best, or they can be.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So I'm looking forward to, I love time travel shenanigans. Loki's probably my favorite villain in the MCU, like tied with Thanos. So I'm definitely super stoked about this.
Tied with Thanos and then tied with this guy.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
He was in prison for so long and then just gets out and he's just like, I'm going to hit up the middle of the dance floor at this Madripoor party and I'm just going to live it up.
Well, is Zemo a villain or is he my bro? I don't know.
He's also one of the favorite villains now. These anti-hero characters that you're like, okay, they can work alongside sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a shame that they killed off Killmonger too, because I thought extremely charming, fun character. Wish he could still be around and show the lighthearted, more comedic side when the situation isn't something he's necessarily at odds with the heroes about. But as far as this show, dude, it looks super cool. I'm getting some weird like Hannibal vibes going on here. I don't know why I keep thinking Hannibal, but I think just like visually there's like so much to just kind of feast on. It seems almost operatic at times. And the idea that like this is the Loki that was still the villain before he had his turn and his arc and kind of return to being a little bit of a hero alongside Thor in Ragnarok. This is the Loki that picked up the cube in 2012, right after the attack on New York. He's a bad guy who does stab people in the back and hasn't had that redemption arc yet. The one who had the redemption arc died. Thanos killed him. So this one has to go through his own kind of experiences, and we, the audience, still remember the other Loki, and we're kind of rooting for him to be like that one, but he's gonna be a little bit scummy, I guess. It kind of reminds me of what's her name? Gamora's sister,
Nebula.
Like her, she went through kind of a very similar arc, right? Like,
yeah, and how satisfying was that arc? I mean, we're going to see something like that play out here with Loki, even though we've already seen it, but we're going to see it in a much different way because these are much more stressful circumstances that he's in, it seems like, and it's going to be a series. And I think we're going to have that emotional journey and that rewarding thing where we see Loki develop into less of a villain and more of a three-dimensional character again, but in a whole new way. And with all this multiverse madness wrapped around him, that's just going to make it a lot more fun.
Right. I love in this graphic here, we see this branching off timeline, which completely reminds me of in Endgame. Was it Endgame? Yeah, in Endgame. When Hulk goes to the Ancient One, to Tilda Swinton, it was like, I need the green stone from you. And she shows, here's our timeline. Here's the branching off that's going to happen once you take this. And it seems like this whole organization is about, there's lots of instances, not just of taking the time stone, that branch off into awful timelines, and they're in charge of quantum leap cleaning stuff up. And in fact, we get this really cool scene where, let me see if I grabbed the screenshot for it. Did I not? Yeah, right there, where he's on the plane here, and he's DB Cooper. That's totally who he is right there. He is DB Cooper, the guy who mysteriously grabbed the money and jumped out of the plane with a whole bunch of money and then disappeared forever, and no one ever found this guy. That's him. So I'm like, oh,
that is great.
I love how they tied him into some like real historical mystery. The whole thing looks super cool. We got some snap judgments from y'all. Will Morris says, so that's what a good MCU show looks like. And says looks bonkers in the best way. Psycho Reviewer says, I want Loki to end with Loki breaking the fourth wall and saying, okay, you guys, go watch the other stuff. We own you.
Obviously.
Yeah, I feel like that's only Deadpool's allowed to do that. Kern says, this is the TV show I've been most anticipating. While Thor was the main act in his movies, the reality is Loki stole the show whenever he was on screen.
Yeah, agreed. And Kung also mentions the Trial and Tribulations episode in Deep Space Nine, which is exactly what I was thinking of when I was talking about that in Star Trek.
Yeah,
great episode.
Yeah, so funny.
Yeah. And then Takako says, and to think that Tom Hiddleston auditioned for Thor and got as far as camera tests. Well, and now he gets his own show. So take that, Thor.
Do we think Thor is going to show up in this?
I don't. This if this show is dealing with temporal anomalies, this is going to allow them to be extremely playful with having all sorts of cameos if they want to extend that arm. If they don't, we're going to get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. basically, where they're not allowed to touch any cool characters, and we're only dealing with these kind of little one-off subplots that, with a bunch of characters that we don't really care for. But yeah, it seems like it's loaded with potential for that, and I wouldn't be surprised if what we're seeing in this this first trailer here is just a lot of clips from that very first episode, you know?
Yeah, it seems like it could be loaded with a lot of fun surprises.
And why does this particular graphic here look so familiar? Is this
is from the raid on the Capitol, right?
that's what it is. This is
Q Shaman.
January 6th. No, but it also looks like, was this pulled from like a comic illustration or something? Do you guys know?
I've seen Loki illustrated in that stance with that grin a lot.
With like a vote for Loki kind of button going on here.
I don't remember any kind of vote for Loki plot line.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it just looks naturally iconic.
I'm wondering what this whole thing is here, though, that, vote Loki was a comic a few years ago. Yeah, it feels familiar, like they're pulling off of some other thing I've seen before.
Yeah.
And they did a Zack Snyder and brought the page to life. But hopefully made it good. Unlike Zack Snyder.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't want to hear Hallelujah playing over this.
And absolutely, I love seeing Owen Wilson here. Do you think we're gonna get some good wows from him?
Wow.
Owen Wilson plays Mobius M. Mobius, a member of the Time Variance Authority, a police organization that monitors the timeline. Hiddleston helped Wilson prepare for the role, explaining and showing him moments from the MCU which Wilson felt was useful for him, and with the moments when Mobius is interviewing Loki. Interesting. Like, is Mobius M. Mobius a familiar name to you, Will?
Well, there's Mobius, the Jean Girard, the famous French cartoonist, but not Mobius M. Mobius in Marvel.
Mobius M. Mobius is a bureaucrat in middle management who attempted to discipline the Fantastic Four for violations of the TVA's laws, I guess, in some other comics for the Time Variance Authority. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be great if we have a Marvel TV show that actually also manages to stick the landing.
Yeah, those finales, they're trouble.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were fully feeling these finales that we got for WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, despite the rest of the show being fantastic. And it feels either rushed or it's designed by committee and ignoring all of the emotional development that went on through those series, you know? And I don't know what this one is going to be beyond sort of a spiritual reckoning and perhaps a little bit of a redemption arc for the Loki character in realizing, he's this ultimate trickster, but maybe he can use his powers for good and find in himself a little bit of love for other people aside from himself. That could be a good arc for Loki and a way to return him to the world of Thor and have those two characters reunite in a healthy manner.
The showrunner, well, Marvel doesn't really have showrunners for these Disney Plus series, but they have head writers. So the head writer of this show is best known for his writing on Rick and Morty. And he worked a lot with Dan Harmon. He worked on Community and Harmon Quest. So yeah, we're gonna get some shenanigans here for sure.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much looking forward to this one. I think what's up?
Hopefully no one goes crazy over some McDonald's chicken nugget sauce in the process.
Szechuan sauce, yeah. Gotta have it. Well, do you guys have any other kind of thoughts on these last 3 shows before we kind of tie things up here?
I feel like we have a pretty good slate coming down, and especially with Loki and the other Disney Plus series that are going to come out, which we haven't seen trailers from, like Secret Invasion, and there's one with Don Cheadle, right? I think it's Armor Wars, or something like that.
Armor Wars.
What If
looks amazing too.
Yeah,
and I wonder how much What If is going to also kind of be adjacent to what Loki is doing here.
Right. So you got the What If, MODOK, obviously. The slate looks good, man. It looks really good. Still, maybe it's just an embarrassment of riches. I don't feel like I'm super pumped for any one of these the way I was pumped for like the first Avengers movie or Endgame, right? But I guess that makes sense. We're not at that level yet with this phase.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of these seem to be moving pieces into place and trying to pick up the pieces from everything that went into what Endgame was, which is, it's a lot of, rebuilding that you have to do after you do some pretty cataclysmic events for the world, and then kill off a lot of the main tentpole characters that were driving everything. It's like, oh, do you think that Benedict Cumberbatch can carry everything? Not necessarily. I don't know if him and Brie Larson are going to be the new leads of this universe.
Speaking of Benedict Cumberbatch, the head writer for Loki also wrote the next Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Hawkeye also.
Who's Hawkeye again?
No one cares about Hawkeye.
Kate Bishop. I'm looking forward to the new version. So,
Chicago says, I wonder if Owen Wilson spoke to Tom Hiddleston about Tom Hiddleston's impression of him.
I have not seen this.
Oh, yeah, he did an impression of him.
That has to be in the show, right? It's gonna happen.
I just a little back and forth. Wow. Oh man. Wow. Gee. And yes, Shul, as long as Jeff Loeb doesn't get anywhere near this, Jeff Loeb got to have all the other garbage products that Kevin Feige just pretended. Yeah, you go play in that sandbox. Not canon.
If any of the Jeff Loeb characters show up on any of these Disney Plus shows, we got to go back to the Hot Quake for that episode.
Hot Quake
instead of the Snap Judgments. Hot Quake.
100%. I don't think I never made something for Hot Quake, but maybe I'll have to put it together.
Yeah.
Will, thank you so much for joining us. Can you remind people once again where they can find you, where they can follow you, where they can check out your cool stuffs?
Thanks for having me. You can find me at hypercastle.com or on Twitter and Instagram at William Cardini. Here's my beautiful painting, by the way.
Beautiful.
Product placement.
Mike, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Mike Moody Garcia.
What's going on?
I'm trying to do a thing. Yeah, there it is.
I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter. Lots of fun Star Trek and MCU content.
Hot Quake.
That is good.
You guys can follow me at Baron Von Grant. Once again, I'd like to remind and encourage you guys to subscribe to us at youtube.com/MCU pod and go ahead and write us a little 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts. Tell your friends about us. Rally the troops. Support us at patreon.com/MCU pod for $2, $5, or $10 a month. And we do a little bonus exclusive content for you. I'm working on something for later this week for you fine folks that are already supporting us over there. Appreciate y'all. And I think that's about it. This was kind of a spontaneous thing that I just wanted to do some more shooting the shit. I have my I have my second COVID shot on Thursday, so there was part of me that was a little nervous that Friday's show ain't gonna happen. I'm not sure. I'm on Moderna, and I think Moderna.
What are we covering Friday?
This was what we were gonna cover.
So okay, sure. So we're not doing Friday.
Potentially not, because
but maybe
I might feel wrecked. Yeah,
right.
Or if I'm feeling up for it, and if you guys are, yeah, we can rally. But until then, I'll leave a big old question mark for what's to come in the future. But thanks, y'all, and MCU later.